and remember your plan. We believe in you, supporting your trials. Please hear us stand this for you.
He did not like the square for square, block for block, perfect recreation thing, which is one of the things I really loved about Link's Awakening.
Oh, that was one of the things I was looking forward the most to. Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I still yet to play it, because these days, if you have it physically, only one person in the house really needs a game. You can just like toss the cartridge between everybody since the profile's right on the Switch. I've just been so busy with other things. But I don't know, that was one of the things I thought was the coolest part about the game.
I know, right? And he stated something that was, I think, probably false. But he didn't. Not that it was a lie or anything. But it was just like, I don't think he understands game development.
Mm-hmm.
In that he suggested that the fact that the NPCs, like, you can walk diagonally, you can walk in any direction. Right?
Yes.
Because it's fully 3D rendered. Actually, everything's 3D. Is a 3D model. But the NPCs follow the grid system when they walk. They never go diagonally. They follow, they just go 4 directions.
In fact, they follow the same paths that they were programmed to follow in the original game.
Right. And he was suggesting that somehow saved money, that was an example of cutting corners because they didn't have to animate the NPCs walking diagonally. I'm like, that's not how that works.
No.
They're fully 3D modeled. They could walk diagonally if they just had them walk diagonally.
It's not a sprite. Like, they didn't have to draw a new sprite for each angle. They literally just have the forward walking animation and it rotates. Right.
It could rotate 360 degrees any amount. So that was I think an unfair criticism through just ignorance.
Yeah, it's like, no, the reason they don't go diagonally is because they're following the exact same programmed paths from the original game. Yeah,
and I mean, it's fine if he didn't like that fact that that's the way they programmed
that's a personal chase.
But to say that that's a way that they somehow cut corners. In fact, it probably would have been easier and cheaper and faster if they had just had the NPC walk directly from one point to the next. But instead, they had them, follow the grid.
In fact,
so
it's actually
like,
probably
that's
would have
not
been
fair.
cheaper in the old game to make sprites that go diagonally than it is in general to make NPCs that don't, because I guarantee you it took a lot longer for them to model each of those little clay-looking figures than it would be for me to make a sprite sheet for each of those characters.
Yeah. Well, and in a sprite sheet scenario, you're not going to do a sprite of it looking at 3/4 angle, right? Even if you're moving diagonally, it's going to show you from the side. Because that's the way.
Possibly. It depends what you want to do, right? From a design aspect. Especially since it's already a slight top-down angle. It's kind of like if you could kind of see the top of my thumb right here. Like, there would be reason if you did have it programmed to have diagonal movement, just hitting both buttons at the same time, that you would do that. It just really depends. Pokemon's never had that problem, though, because up until they went 3D, they've never had a diagonal angle. Everything just follows the grid, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Then he complained about... This isn't even the video that I was originally going to talk about.
Yeah.
But we can get into that later. But then he complained about the whole random encounters thing, which we've talked about that. You like random encounters. I like
best fucking part of the game.
I know. But what's weird, what I found weird, because I haven't played the game, but in his review, he pointed out that for some reason, when you drop into the underground area, there you can see the Pokemon and avoid encounters. It's like, why did they do that in that area only and not other areas? It's kind of strange.
Yeah, that is strange. Everything about how they redesigned the underground is strange. I kind of like it just from watching my brother run around in it. But in the original version, there were no Pokemon in the underground whatsoever. Those like big open rooms where you see Pokemon weren't there. The whole thing was just like a little winding labyrinth. where you did mining and could make a secret base. They made it much more expansive, and it works because physically it actually matches the size of the map now, because the underground in the original version was smaller than the actual map of Sinnoh. And they just had like key points like, well, if you're roughly in this area, it's going to drop you here on the map when you go into the underground. Now it actually kind of fits the size of the whole map.
So anyway, then he had some other criticisms that were, maybe fair, maybe unfair. I don't know. It's an interesting watch. It's funny because like he's very self-aware. He's like, I know I'm going to piss off a lot of Pokemon fans. And he was like, I'm sorry. But
let me see if I can find some criticisms. You want to talk about that game. Buck was sending me criticisms because he has not played a lot of Pokemon. I think his first Pokemon game was X and Y, right? And since then, he hasn't gone back and played any. He's only, I think, played that game and this one. Let's see, because I was laughing at some of the fucking shit that he showed, like, sent me.
Hey, Pastry. Welcome. She says, I haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah?
That joke never gets old.
Oh, a lot of it was him bitching about the Elite Four in general, which is funny as fuck, because I always thought this was one of the easier Elite Four. I actually kind of just thought like the whole Pokemon League Elite Four through Champion, for the most part, got easier. Maybe, I don't know, 3 was pretty fucking hard, but in general, like as the series progressed and you had more options and the game was fine-tuned, so the mechanics were more balanced, the final run got easier and easier. It's like, go back and play the original Red and Blue Elite Four with frickin' Lance's 3 Dragonites and tell me how fucking easy that is, who had stats that were physically higher than a Pokemon could actually get at that level. You just sit here like bitching about Garchomp and stuff, and so we're gonna make a really strong dragon. But what is balancing? I don't know. Can't even get Pokemon that it's weak against up to that point.
Yeah.
Somehow, he was 20 levels over with the preferable type advantage and got 2-shot. And I'm just like, I'm not sure I believe you. I'm really not. I'm not going to call him a liar or anything. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what he's doing wrong. He's like, I was 20 levels over the preferable type matchup. In that Elite Four, I'd fucking, like, rush through the whole thing. No problem. Probably wouldn't even take a couple of hits.
Is he talking about in Diamond? Or in
yeah. He's like, dude, that Elite Four is not hard.
Bad luck, I guess.
The only hard part is Cynthia's Garchomp, but like if you go in with an ice Pokemon, or actually don't even go in with an ice Pokemon, you want to go in with a fast Pokemon that knows Ice Punch, because you don't have to be an ice Pokemon to learn Ice Punch. You just have to be like a fighting Pokemon or something. Garchomp's really, really fast, but if you're over leveled, you're still faster than Garchomp. And you just punch him once and he's dead. That's how you play Pokemon. He's like, fuck your challenge. I'm just going to be like 20 levels above you.
Then that's interestingly, Arlo said he found all of them very easy.
Yeah, they're not hard. They're not hard.
He was saying he intentionally went up against the, what is it? The Elite Eight? Or the final?
Elite Four.
The Elite Four?
Yeah.
He intentionally went up against them under level just to give him more of a challenge.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Buck. I really don't.
Nobody knows.
I'm trying to be sympathetic, but it's like, dude, I've played enough Pokemon that everything you're telling me just sounds wrong. And I'm just wondering if it's like a personal problem here. I think he was relying a lot on his Torterra, which is a starter Pokemon. Here's the one fucked thing about the Elite Four in that game, right? And it was about the original too. Only one of the 3 starter Pokemon is useful into the Elite Four. And that's Piplup becoming all the way up to Empoleon. All the other ones are like useless against the entirety of the Elite Four. It's like, well, fuck you for choosing wrong.
Well,
Yeah, it is what it is.
do you have to use your starting Pokemon? You don't
No,
have
you can switch out anything at any time. There's no problem with that. You just have to train them up. This game makes it even easier because you can't turn off the group experience share.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I really.
And interestingly, in past ones, Happy New Year, Joshua and Fizz Joseph. In past ones, as you got more on your team, did it split out the experience so more would give you less each? Because this one
that only started in X and Y.
Oh, okay.
And no, the way that experience share worked was the main Pokemon got the bulk of it, and then there was like a small percent that was duplicated for all the other ones. So you'd get like I think it was like 60% for the main Pokemon, and then all of them would get like a duplication of the remaining 30%. It was really dumb, as opposed to like the original experience share was an item you had to put on a Pokemon, so only one Pokemon got it at a time, and the fighting Pokemon would get like 70% of it, and then the one with the share would get like and the actual 30 instead of like, because if you had 60 it would be 40, but then they reduce it by like another 10% since it's splitting, like being duplicated for everybody. It's a weird like algorithm that they have set for that. It's not like a straightforward split. It's like, well, because everybody's getting it, we're reducing it yet again, but then you're getting more than 100% because it's being duplicated between everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then it got weirder if you switched Pokemon out in battle, because if every Pokemon that participated in a duel split the experience anyway, so then it would take like that 70% and then split that evenly, but the Pokemon with experience share would still get like the remaining experience. It's a really weird system you can abuse. I don't know. I've never been a super big fan of experience share. If there was a Pokemon I didn't give a shit about, I would just drop it in the daycare for a long time. That was fine. Like, I'm not training you anyway. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But, that's enough about Pokemon for a second. Welcome to the Vomitorium. First episode of the new year, 2022. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. How you doing today?
Fine and dandy.
Yeah.
My sleep schedule's totally fucked up, but
Hey,
that's what happens when you don't have work for 10 days. And I'm confusing days. I missed Wednesday. I was like, what the fuck is that? But I'm getting back on track. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. There's a lot of college students in the Newgrounds Festival server that directly blame me for why their sleep schedule is fucked up.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Are they cute college students? And do any of them live near me?
Possibly to the first one. I don't know. I don't see most of them on camera. And secondly, no.
Dang it. No, I'm not talking about the type of college students that Jack Murphy would be interested in, but
okay then.
We can leave that alone. He went into detail on the type of college students that he likes. Anyway,
why did I
watch that?
Because I don't sleep at night. I'm nocturnal, and everybody wants to hang out with me. So, like, I don't know.
There you go. Let's see. Where is... It's in one of these folders. There it is. Is the Winter Festival going on right now?
No. I think we're like 30 days out from it or something like that. It's like at the end of January. Which everybody sign up for the Winter Festival. I'm not having a panel this time around because... Frankly, I don't know what the fuck I'd want to talk about anyway. But I am definitely going to be attending.
Forgot you have to sign up.
Yeah, they are asking people who are already in the server to just reapply. so they can get a good head count of who's showing up. But there's like an option on the thing at the beginning. It's like, I am already in their server or returning, and they're just like, oh, welcome back or whatever. You don't have to fill out that whole fucking form like the last time, or show ID or something like that. Yeah.
But it's a form on newgrounds.com?
Yeah, so let me pull it up too. For people looking to sign up for the Winter Festival, I will drop the link in the chat in a second. But you go to newgrounds.com, right at the top, there's a calendar at the top left side. You scroll down, January 28th through January 30th, NG Winter Festival, which will bring you to a news post by Standpie. And in that post, you'll find that there is a registration form. There's panel application, and even scrolling down further, registration and attendance, and it says click here to register.
Yeah, they should really put that link at the top.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm not the one running it, so, you know.
Just saying.
I mean, I guess I'm friends with the guy running. I could just outright tell him he should put the link at the top. I also don't care that much.
Until you read down that far,
yeah,
it's not clear that you have to register. But
I think the second news post, which isn't on the calendar, actually has it like near the very top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that you should. That's up to whoever actually updates the front page, whether it's Tom Fulp or one of like the other 2 or 3 guys that work at Newgrounds. They should really update it, but then how are they going to know about the new post unless Stan sends them a link to the new post? They're too busy to see every single thing that somebody updates.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, anyway. So yeah, the second Arlo video I watched was a bit about basically a video about burnout. And yeah, and it's interesting because he has some of the same what should I say struggles I do with I don't even know exactly what it is. I don't know if it's, and I have to go back and watch and see if he named it, but it was, I don't know if it's related directly to ADHD or if it's social anxiety or both.
You are talking about the personal phenomena of burnout. See, we were in video game discussion. I'm like, they made another Burnout when?
Oh, no. Talking about like YouTuber burnout, which for the most part, I find to be a bit obnoxious because I'm like, the rest of the fucking planet has to work 5 days a week every week.
Yeah.
With very infrequent vacations, right?
Yeah, well, like in the case of somebody like, say, you, who has a day job, like I very much understand burnout. It's like that you already have something you do every single day and then have to go and do video production on top of that is a completely different thing.
Well, I don't get burnout from doing, well, I mean, I guess I do, because I don't do them very often. YouTube videos. I just find it, I don't know. I don't know how much, I mean, it depends. Someone like the Quartering, I could see totally getting burnout because I'm pretty sure he works like a ridiculous amount since he puts out like 5 videos a day.
Yeah, doesn't he also do like consultation and stuff on top of that?
And he has a full-time, or not a full-time, but he's got a job on top of that. But like, come on, Arlo. You put out like 1 post a week. You have an editor, for fuck's sake. How much work are you doing where you getting burnout? Give me a fucking break.
You talk about something like the Quartering, or there's a lot of people that I see in that bracket. I don't even know if people like that really feel burnout in the same way that some people do.
Yeah.
Because some people are like workhorses. They're freaking workaholics, and that's how they get to where they are too, because they just never stop working, and it just kind of pushes them in a steady direction when you just work nonstop.
Yeah, and he's even done videos where he's basically said, I'm a workaholic and it's a problem. Yeah. He's like, it gets, it gets in the way of my personal life in some ways. So I totally understand. And I'm somewhat of a workaholic too, But what's interesting is that some of the issues that Arlo expressed with his, I don't know what you call them, mental, not really a mental disorder, but just mental struggles with things, I found very interesting, because the way he described it, I'm like, I do the same thing. It's amazing. He was talking about how he gets anxiety over tiny little things that would be easy to just do and get out of the way, but that his brain gives him these false signals that are kind of like a signal that says, don't touch that hot stove, because if you touch it, you'll get burned and it will hurt. It's a similar signal to say, don't go through your emails or your DMs or something, even though it would just take a minute or 5 minutes to just do it and get it over with. Your brain sends these signals that say, don't do it, go do something else, ignore it. It just gives you this irrational anxiety. Yeah. And I was like, I do that. I have the same thing. Like sometimes at work where I know there's a task that I could probably knock out in like 15 or 30 minutes, but it's a little bit difficult and I know it's going to give me anxiety, I will just put it off and put it off and put it off. And I'm like, why am I doing that? I could just knock it out. But for some reason, and then other things that that take like 4 hours, I'll just do. I'll just sit down and do it for 4 hours.
Well, and then also like, because the 4 hour thing might be easier, but also since it's going to take longer, there's a higher priority set of like, this will be more worth doing because I'll knock out the longer thing that takes more time. I used to have a problem like that. So what I got in the habit of doing is I would try to make a rotation of things where it's like, okay, I'll do like a long thing, then a short thing, then a long thing, and then maybe like 2 or 3 short things. Or like, I'll try to go back and forth and fill something that's close to the same time gap. And like, if I set a checklist of when to do things and I do it in order, then they're more likely to get done.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was just interesting because I was like, oh my gosh, I have that same problem sometimes. I mean, you should see my, I'm sure a lot of people's email inbox looks like this, but I currently have 23,676 emails because, been putting off cleaning it out for a while.
Well, that's why I think like, which in the martial arts, this is like the number one thing about it is that like the discipline is the most important thing, because if you're well disciplined, even if you have some type of like executive dysfunction, the problem is you don't allow yourself to cave to the dysfunction, right? It's almost like there's a part of you on the inside that is beating you with a belt if you don't do it. And that part of you that's beating you with the belt is worse than the part that's like, oh no, there's a snake there. I shouldn't touch that. It's like I don't know what's scarier, the snake or the big dude with the belt behind me. Yeah.
Well, I know that there were some medications that I was on a couple of years ago that really helped with this too. So I might, I went to see a doctor last week for my allergies. So maybe next week I will go see a doctor about getting back on the medications that I know help with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and usually doctors are pretty easy to talk into that stuff too, especially if you say something like, "Hey, I'm feeling like some form of executive dysfunction," and then you go and explain exactly that feeling that you described.
Yeah.
And I know in the past I didn't have this feeling when I was on this, and then they'll see it's like, well, that already seems like trial experiment, so maybe we can get you back on that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of had to think about, okay, how am I going to explain the fact that I haven't been on this medication for like 2 years now?
Yeah.
And I'm basically going to say, here's what happened. I lost my job. I lost my insurance. I wasn't on it. Now I have a job, but I'm doing fine. I've never had a bad, we have monthly reviews. I've never had a bad review, but I know there are things about my job that I'm failing at, and I know why, because this wasn't a problem 2 years ago when I was working with this medication. So I even know exactly what I was on. I mean, frankly, I can call my old doctor in Arizona and have him send the records, but
yeah,
I also know it offhand. What's funny is I don't know if it's peculiar to Birmingham or if I'm just not. I can't find a fucking doctor that prescribes these particular medications. I've been here for over a year and I've been looking. Finally, I went to the doctor that I talked to last week about my allergies. I asked him, I was like, can you give me a reference to this kind of doctor? And he did, but it ends up, it's a adolescent, it's an adolescent psychiatrist. And I'm like, well, I hope he takes adults. Because it looks bright. It looks like exactly what I need. But
you're just going to say, well, adults. I mean, if it helps, you can talk strictly to my inner child.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, if it helps, I wasn't diagnosed until I was 38. So, what are you going to do?
If it's the only person in the area that can do it.
Oh, well.
Oh, man, we're getting severe lag.
Yeah, I think I answered Timothy's question. The reason I wasn't on a job, I lost my insurance, and I moved to a different state, so it's rough. If and when I move back to Arizona, I'm going back to that same doctor because they were awesome, absolutely awesome. It's just been hard to find one in Birmingham. But anyway, enough way too personal information.
Yeah. Yeah. You're starting to border the line of TMI, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't.
Hey, Farlow can talk about it.
Yeah. I watched Cobra Kai.
What is? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, obviously, probably shouldn't spoil too much.
I'm not planning on spoiling it.
I'm up to episode 7.
Up to episode 7. That's good. Probably the reason why I went to bed earlier than normal last night, despite it being New Year's. By earlier than normal, I think I went to sleep around like 5, 6 o'clock. So this morning. Last night's not even an appropriate word. But the reason I went to bed earlier than normal was probably because the previous day I stayed until noon because I didn't get to it until like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I just watched all of Cobra Kai at once.
Man, I had the toughest time without trying. Yeah, I did that, I think, with season 3. I had the toughest time watching through season 4 because of the cringe seeing a new black kid who is getting bullied. I'm just like, I have a hard time watching cringe.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like
why
I literally have to turn it off and go, like, I don't know. Yeah, go do something else for 10 minutes, and then I'll come back and watch the rest of the scene. But I'm like, oh, I hate the scene. It's so bad.
Like, you kind of get why the kid was...
But I hear it pays off.
Just by watching him, you're like, I see why the kids are bullying him. It's not cool. They shouldn't be, but, like, I see why they are. They're kids.
Yeah, but it's hard to put my finger on why I find those scenes so cringe. It's just, I guess it's uncomfortable because, the show blurs, there's no bad guys and good guys, right?
Yeah.
So, like, some of the good guys sort of find themselves on the wrong side just kind of by accident. And so I think it's more of I feel uncomfortable that this kid doesn't mean to be a bully, but he becomes one sort of, and he doesn't, and then, it's kind of an uncomfortable scene.
Yeah, and they're kind of playing with the whole, like, modern notion of how, like, Batman creates his own villains type thing, where, like, this kid is absolutely no problem to anyone in the world. In fact, he's nice and unlike his older brother, but then starts to become more like him because of the fact that he was bullied and needs to learn how to defend himself and goes to the wrong place and then blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
But at least, like, so
and I noticed
the thing I like about the show is, as cringe as it is, at least they do a good job of getting characters' motivations down, right? Like, you can follow the chain of thought, the linear progression of a character going from one point to the next point, with the sole exception of, it seems that no matter how many times it looks like they learned their lesson, Daniel and Johnny never learn their lessons. Everybody else does except for them. They might have at the end, no spoilers, but aside from like up to this point so far, it feels like no matter what lesson gets thrown their way, Daniel and Johnny aren't allowed to learn their lessons, almost like an anime protagonist has to continue moving on for like 100 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, and they've had this in previous seasons where they've teamed up, gotten back together, seem to have worked out their differences, and then they don't.
Well, so my problem too is, like, for Johnny, it makes the most sense with his character that he doesn't learn his lessons, or that it's really hard for him to learn his lessons. He's in the school of hard knocks, right? For Daniel, though, my biggest problem, especially because they reflect on the movies often enough, like you'll even see flashbacks from them, that he's already been through this shit. And he kind of, like, you shouldn't have to convince him what the actual combat value of Cobra Kai is, right? Like, obviously he understands that the mentality is toxic, but you shouldn't have to convince him that the combat's good because, you know, he went through it with frickin' Silver and stuff like that. He actually went through the whole Cobra Kai training. But he's, like, mentally adverse to it, even though he's grown through it with Mr. Miyagi. Like, we can reject the behavior and keep the teaching. He's like, no, all of it's toxic. Let's get away from it. This is really dumb, the way he handles everything about it. In fact, even like Daniel's attitude towards Cobra Kai in season 1 was one of like the very few things I didn't like about the show, because it feels like everything after the first movie didn't matter, even though they were referencing things that happened after the first movie.
Yeah, and I find most of the show very watchable.
Yeah, most of it is very watchable.
I like there's one scene where, which I won't spoil, but where Johnny and Daniel have a fight, like an official, not official, match. But it's, you know, like a match. A 3-point match kind of thing. I like that scene.
Not spoiling, but the ending of that scene is just perfect. It is
the
most
it's kind of
ridiculous old man fight ending ever.
I figured it would be something like that. Like, there's got to be. I thought maybe it would get stopped in the middle, or, you know, before the end or something like that. But that was, the ending of that scene was not exactly predictable. It was funny. It was really funny. It was kind of like, I knew something like that had to happen. But at any rate,
I think in general, though, because a lot of the cringe comes to starting to develop a character who hadn't been developed previously. Like, they're throwing a little nugget of, hey, look who we might be focusing on a little more in the next season, which that's the only real spoiler is, no, the story did not come to another conclusion. It kind of did. It came to the same type of conclusion that the first season did, sort of.
Oh, really?
But it leaves an even bigger opening at the end than the last season did.
Because they want to do another season, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. So I would take a guess. As far as you are, you should already be able to take this guess too, that the LaRusso son is probably going to be a big focus in the next season. He might even start learning karate himself. But that most of the cringe comes from them having to establish a character that's basically new, because he was more of just like a side gag prior to this. Everything else is like, I thought they did a better job of like developing all of the kids than they did previously, because aside from, say, Miguel and Robbie, and more so Miguel, because Robbie's development has been kind of weak up to this point, but aside from Miguel and Robbie, the other characters haven't gotten too much development. They're just kind of there doing things. There's like a little thing between Tori and Sam, but not a lot. This season really actually develops almost every single one of the kids that you've been seeing for quite a while. So I thought that was good.
I kept thinking the mom was going to offer Tori a job at the dealership.
Yeah, it felt like that, didn't it?
Right? I was like, when is she going to just give her a job? She kind of needs one. But I don't know if that happens.
Maybe next season.
Okay, I guess it doesn't happen this season. Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't know if it happened at some point in the next couple episodes.
How long can they keep that going? Well, honestly, I thought that at the end of the last season, because I did not think the cliffhanger they left it off on at the end of the last season was a strong cliffhanger. I thought it was a pretty weak one. I made some complaints about it last time, if you were around when we were talking about it. This cliffhanger, though, oh boy, get ready for it when you hit it. It is way better than the one last time. I think going at... And I kind of called it, too, when we got the announcement. Like, I knew before they even reconfirmed that there was going to be a 6th season that they were going to go for another season. In fact, this kind of fits the beats for what I had called them. Like, yeah, they're probably going to end the arc on this one, a 3-season arc, and then they're going to move into another one. But man, that was a good.
Well, if you remember, like the good, what I call the good Star Trek series.
Yeah,
they were in the 90s. They all went for 7 seasons, and that seemed pretty good. It seems like a decent amount of time. Sometimes the 7th season is a little bit jump the sharky, but now I could see this going for 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah,
wrapping it up.
Oh no! We're gonna wrap it up at 6, and then there's going to be the next Cobra Kai.
Yeah, jeez. No, let it end.
What, you didn't like the next Karate Kid?
Is that the one with
the chick?
Who was that girl?
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
I thought that one was nice. I mean, obviously, it wasn't.
Hilary Swank.
Swank.
Hilary Swank.
It wasn't as good as Daniels, but I still like the movie.
They're going to do another 6 or 7 seasons, all surrounding Hilary Swank.
Yeah. Coming back. It's like, what? She never even went against Cobra Kai. What does this have to do with anything? Yeah. Like, what? No. Yeah. The next Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Is she still around? They should have pulled her in for a cameo. Maybe they will next season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, she's still alive. If that's what you're asking.
No, I'm not. I know she's alive. Is she around? Like, what's the last time she did an acting job? Is what I'm thinking.
She's only 47. Let's see. She was in $1 Million Baby, but that was 17 years ago.
I think she was in something. She was a producer in Fatale, and maybe she was an actress in it too. So 2020, I think.
She was in a TV show. Wait, was she acting in it? Oh yeah.
Yeah, but even
a TV show called Away.
She was in a movie. So yeah, she's still around. Okay. Oh, and she voice acts in BoJack Horseman. Yeah, she's around. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to pull somebody out of retirement, but if they're still actively doing something, they could probably easily get a cameo for an episode or two.
Yeah, she's the star of this TV series, this science fiction series.
Yeah, pull her in. I saw at the end he was, well, actually I don't want to spoil that, but she has connection directly to Miyagi-Do. Like, why not pull her in? Right?
Yeah. He should. Man, Terry Silver is looking rough.
Yo, honestly, it was my favorite character of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to remember
That's
what
not the
episode
actor's
it was.
name, right?
No, I don't know the actor's name. That's just the character's name.
I've always heard him referred to as Terry Silver, and for a while I thought that was the actor's name.
I don't know. It'd be weird if the character was named after the actor, but it happens sometimes.
Yeah, no, Thomas Ian Griffith.
No, dude, he has such a
Yeah, that's funny, too.
personality. Like, I liked him back when he played the character in the movie, but like as an actor, and I guess like he's trying to embody the life path that the character's gone on. He's developed like such a personality for the character that he almost feels like a new character.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the way he fights and stuff, it's just like, oof.
it's interesting. Like, he seemed to have found inner peace and moved on with his life, but then he comes back and he kind of seems to be falling back into the old.
Yeah, because the inner
personality.
peace was a lie. It was a mask he was wearing, and he had to get rid of it.
Was his girlfriend not hot enough? I mean, come on. He just dumped her, huh?
I don't blame him. I mean,
She's-
did you see that life he was living?
It's like dinner parties and creme brulee and
Fucking vegan foods and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
and you saw that guy, that like artist dude who was sitting across and he was complimenting Kreese's jawline. It's like,
Oh yeah. That was awful.
dude, if I was living that life, I'd want somebody like Kreese to come and bust me out of it too. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I'd want to kick my own ass.
Maybe that was the problem. He just found the wrong girlfriend who led him down the path of the vegans. Weird artists.
He needed to become a carnivore diet businessman. That's what he needed.
But he's apparently super rich, right?
Yeah. I think they should have brought it up by where you are, but he inherited his dad's company. I mean, he was even rich in the movie. Remember, he was like in hot tubs with babes and stuff like that. And
I don't remember it that much, but yeah, something like that. You know, you can't pull off that kind of a ponytail without being super rich.
he was like high on coke
Okay.
throughout the whole 80s. But I mean, who wasn't?
That's right. Who wasn't indeed?
But no, his character's the best. Oof, I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too much of a spoiler because I think everybody would have seen this coming. But I don't remember what episode. Did you make it to the part where he and Johnny fight?
Terry Silver
Yeah.
and Johnny? No.
Okay, cool. That fight's
yet.
going to be good. Wait for that. I kind of saw that fight coming
Apparently-
from the very beginning because almost mathematically it has to happen, right? Because all of them have a background with Kreese. Danny and Silver have a background, but Johnny and Silver never met. So there's almost like some type of resolution that has to happen from these two characters that have a shared connection through Cobra Kai, but now one of them hates Cobra Kai that they have to fight. Like it's going to happen through mystical forces of its own.
That's right. They've never fought before, so they got to do it.
Yeah, that's how like kung fu and karate shows and movies work. I mean,
That's right. Apparently, Cobra Kai skins are coming to Fortnite.
I saw that. Yeah, everything comes to Fortnite.
That's right.
Oh, you know what? It's the first. I should do this while we're talking. I never reset the freaking donation banner. Which I gotta do.
You did.
But overall, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's the strongest season in general, but I thought overall I enjoyed it more than last season. So, yeah, let's say like a solid 7 out of 10.
It's definitely kept up. You know, there's some series that just like at some point have a season that's just absolutely bloody awful, and this one hasn't had that.
Oh yeah, because like even
Ups
last
and downs,
season,
but
was still good.
Fairly good.
Right? Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think this one's better than last season, but that's not saying last season wasn't good.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Where am I?
You know, Critical Blast put out, he tweeted about it, but I guess it's up on his website, a poll of the best of 2021. I don't know if Cobra Kai was up there. I should go look at that. See,
Maybe, I don't know.
I feel like it must not have been, because I would have voted for it. Probably. I think he forgot to put it in this poll. It was just like best movie, best TV series, best comic book story arc, best comic book artist, writer. You know, it's pop culture stuff. But I voted for Ted Lasso twice.
Twice.
Yeah, well, once for best TV series and once for best actor, I think, in a TV series. So, Jason Sudeikis. But I feel like it's probably not going to win because I don't think a lot of people have seen it, unfortunately.
There's a chance. I know I haven't seen it. It's still on the list of things to see, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's crazy good. It does seem like it has the potential to have a bad season. Like we were talking about, it could go downhill, but so far 2 seasons, I think, have both been great.
It can't be like No Activity, which I thought was a great first season, but I didn't watch anything after that, if there is even anything after that, because this show can't go more than a season. It is a single season idea. There's nothing you can do past the first season of No Activity.
No Activity? I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was like on with CBS Go or whatever. It's one of the CBS streaming services, and it's a show about nothing, really. It's a stakeout that's happening, and there's a few different groups. There's the cops that are doing the stakeout. There's the dispatchers. There's the people in the warehouse that are being stuck out, I guess. I don't know what the past tense for stakeout is. Stoked out. And then there's people who are digging a hole for Mexico. They're like digging a tunnel. And there's just these 4 groups, and nothing ever happens. Like, it lives up to the name. There is no activity. It's just jokes. The whole thing is just jokes about how, like, nothing's going on, pretty much. At one point, frickin' J.K. Simmons comes in.
Yeah.
And he's, like, doing a job, like a performance review of the 2 guys in the car that are staking out. I think Tim Meadows is one of the officers in the car. And he's doing, like, a performance review of them. And he's just like, don't talk to me. Pretend I'm not here. But then he's talking to them, even though they're supposed to not talk to him and pretend he's not there. And he starts, like, telling them his whole, like, fucking depressing life story of how he ended up coming here from the other side of the country or whatever because he met a guy on Grindr, but it turned out that he was actually getting catfished, and he like left his wife and kids behind from getting catfished and stuff, and the dude had, like, no recollection of him. But it's like, I have no idea who you are. I have a family. And he just, like, moved out to LA, and he's just there now. But he was already, like, a higher ranking officer, like detective and stuff back where he was. So now he's giving them their performance review. And he sells this character, though. Like, you believe 100% that this character went through the thing that he said that he's going through, how heartfelt he says it. And it's ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that was produced by freaking Lorne Michaels or whatever, because it feels like an SNL type bit. It feels just like a really long SNL bit that went through, like, a whole season. But I couldn't, like, it's a great idea for a show. I couldn't see it lasting more than a season. It's kind of like that show, and this one I know lasted more for a season. I don't know how long you could carry it on. LA to Vegas. Have you ever seen LA to Vegas?
No.
It's literally just a single plane that flies from LA to Vegas and back, right? And it's the same crew that's always on this plane, same pilot, same stewardess and stuff. But the whole thing is, it only ever shows you the LA to Vegas side. and it is this crazy party plane type, like, yeah, it is a weird show.
People are going to.
I like some of the recurring characters. One of them is played by Peter Stormare, so how can you not like that? But like how this show can't last more than a season. There's no way this show can last more than a season.
Apparently, No Activity went on for 4 seasons.
4 seasons? Oh my god, how? How? I have to watch it. I have to figure out what they do after season 1. Like, what are you gonna do? There's no activity.
That's what it says. That's the name of the show.
I've
never even heard of this show.
Well, that's because it was only on like CBS Access or whatever their fucking streaming service is. Which is a total mistake. It should have just been on CBS. But like, it's like Seinfeld, where he's like, it's a show about nothing, which was supposed to be an internal meta joke about their show. But it's almost like somebody took the idea about a show about nothing and took it way too seriously, and then put cops in it.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, it was originally an Australian series.
Oh.
So there was an Australian version that went on for 4 seasons, and then there was an American version that went on for 4 seasons.
I at least have to watch season 1 of the Australian version, because now I'm curious. Because what does that show look like in the Outback?
Good question.
Are they still digging a giant hole? I don't even know.
Probably doesn't take place in the Outback. It probably takes place in a city.
Oh, I figured it'd be like on the border between like civilization and nowhere. Because, I don't know, unless the plot's 100% different, the only thing that was actually happening in No Activity is that there were these people, I think they were drug runners or whatever, but they were trying to like evade the border by digging a tunnel from Mexico into the U.S. And I would have I think were they in L.A.? I don't even remember where the show took place. I think they're in L.A. San Diego would make more sense, because that'd have to be a long ass tunnel to make it all the way up to L.A. Like, you'd have to pass San Diego. That would be an even more ridiculous plot if that was the case. But I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
Is it animated?
What, No Activity? No, it's a live action thing.
Oh, just one of the trailers, I guess, was animated. Yeah.
No.
Will Ferrell's in it?
Yeah. He was one of the guys in the warehouse that they were staking out.
For some reason, Wikipedia doesn't say what city it takes place in.
I think it's supposed to be vague, but it's too big to be just like a vague town or something like that, though. So
yeah.
If it was San Diego, that would make sense. Because I believe they're supposed to be in California, just based on the story from J.K. Simmons' character. That's close enough that it's still not close enough, because digging a giant tunnel from Mexico into the U.S., there's no city that's really close enough aside from like Brownsville. Or like you'd have to literally be a border city, which there's a few, but none of them are big enough to also get the effect of what they're going for. So no matter what, this like you're making an unbelievably long tunnel that people are digging out by hand. This might be why it takes 4 seasons. It might just take them 4 seasons to dig that hole.
Dude. Oh, you know what I realized? Critical Blast's poll didn't include video games.
Oh.
Probably because it's a comic book.
Probably something we should have done. Maybe we'll do it next week. I forgot, because I kept forgetting that this was the start of the year. Last year, we had a lot more people on, but we can always have just a more calm, civil conversation about it. We didn't do our best of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should pick some categories and do
I don't
that.
know. Yeah. A lot came out. It feels like a lot came out this year. Probably a lot of stuff that was delayed from last year.
Yeah.
I bet.
You know, my list will probably be ridiculous and liked by nobody but myself.
And my list will just be Metroid Dread.
Well, you know, it's worthy of a list.
Yeah. You know, I've played through it like 5 times now.
Oh, nice.
I love it. I played through Samus Returns like 10 times or more. I play through, I beat it, then I just started a new file and start over from the beginning. I just love it.
I'm trying to think. Have I beaten any Metroid aside from the original? Once, maybe twice. I've beaten some other ones, but I think the original is the only one that I've ran many times through, and I think it's just because I had it on the NES when I was a kid, and it was one of those games that it frustrated me a lot as a kid because it's like I would always lose my passwords, and it took me until I think I was 13 to beat it for the first time because I just only had access to playing it on the NES, and if I lost my password, there goes the entire fucking run. And then obviously there was what's it called, Zero Mission, and that solved all the problems. And then I've beaten it several times since that came out. But then it's like it became like a challenge of like, anytime I have the chance, I get a new device that can play the original Metroid. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go beat through this in one sitting because I can do it now. It's almost like a spite thing. It's like I got so mad about not beating it as a kid from losing passwords. It's like, it only takes me one sitting, now I'm doing it.
Nice. I figured out how, I looked it up, but I actually did it. I figured out how to get the bombs early.
Oh.
And if you get the bombs early, Kraid is ridiculous. It's just a joke. You basically you have to fight him through the first phase, which is fairly easy, fairly quick. But once you're done with the first phase, you just basically launch yourself into his stomach, drop a bunch of bombs, and he's dead. Like, it makes the Kraid fight. It's obviously good for speedrunners because it makes the Kraid fight just incredibly fast. It's like you skip the whole, like, 90% of the fight. You can also apparently get the grapple beam early, but goddamn, I tried over and over and over, and it is hard. It's really difficult to get the grapple beam early. There's some really tricky jumps that you have to do. But it's really not necessary. I mean, probably is for a speed run, but it doesn't really help you skip very much. So, the early bombs is a cool trick.
I have not been playing a lot of video games.
You've just been playing Final Fantasy 14 all the time, right?
Well, not all day. I mean, I'm working on stuff. I got like pages right in front of me right now, kind of tucked underneath my computer, waiting for me to pull them back out. I did start playing Final Fantasy 11 on a private server with a buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot how much I liked that game. Way better than 14 in many cases, but I find myself more drawn to play 14 because it's like, well, I've beaten the main campaign of 11, and there's a lot of DLC stuff I haven't beat. But also, because we're playing on a private server, they don't have access to most of the stuff I haven't done in that game because it's like it's hard locked, I think 2008 or whatever. It doesn't have all of the expansions. And,
are there still official servers?
Yeah, dude, you actually can play. I just don't feel like paying monthly to play Final Fantasy 11. Yeah. I'm planning on paying monthly to play Final Fantasy 14 when they finally open their fucking store back up to where I can buy it. It's still down.
Still closed.
Yeah. If they were to combine them into a single subscription, I'd be far more likely to pay even like a bonus $2 to $5 a month for Final Fantasy 11. WoW does that. WoW Classic is part of just your subscription. but that's not what they do.
Yeah.
It's two completely separate subscriptions of basically the same price. It would cost you like $30 a month to play both 11 and 14 at the same time.
Yeah, they really should. I mean, unless they just don't want to revive 11 at all. Like they really don't want people to play 11.
They still supported it recently. Within like the last couple of years, there's like 5 episodic quest lines that were added in within since 2020, and I'm like, what? Why are you still supporting this game but not properly? More people would play it if you combined everything into one subscription model.
Yeah, you think.
Especially since it turns out they use the same lobbies anyway. People couldn't get into Final Fantasy XI when 14 was having problems.
Yeah, they should just make it like a $5 add-on or something. What is it, like $15 a month for 14, and then make it 20.
13 to 15, yeah.
Yeah, make it 18 or something like that.
Yeah,
both.
It's not like they're doing much with 11. I mean, they are still supporting it. They do occasionally patch it for bug fix, but it's not like there's a huge amount of resources that go over to 11. You could easily subsidize that with 14.
Yeah, they must be swimming in money right now.
Well, I mean, they would be if they were selling the game.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they're spending a buttload to bring up new servers.
Yeah. I mean, they're still getting a lot, though, because the MOG station is still open, which means the people who already own the game are spending money on, like, apparel from events that they missed or mounts that are only available through the MOG station. Do you know they have mounts that cost anywhere between $20 to $60?
Not surprised. I've seen WoW.
Yeah.
I know what apparently these economies can support.
Yeah, yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's like freaking. You can buy. I think that actually, I need to look up how much this costs because it'll probably blow your mind. Let me go to the freaking FF14 store right now. You can buy the.
I mean, when there's like worthless skins that will sell for like $15 or $20, then of course the mount will sell for $60. Whatever.
Yeah. There's the mount section. The Lunar Whale costs $42. It's an account-wide purchase, so you get it on any character you ever make, but $42 for a mount that seats 8 people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does WoW have mounts that seat more than one person?
I don't know, but 14 easily does.
Yeah.
You could get a Tacoma carriage for $35. Or actually, $36.
So you get how much people they get into it, and then like one person controls where it goes, or
yeah. Whoever owns the mount is the driver, and then everybody else can just hop in the seats and ride along. So if you're in a party, the biggest a party can get is 8. That's what's called a full party. So they could all just hop into the whale together and just fly to the location that they're going to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Does it go to the moon?
Well, you go to the moon, yes, but you have to like warp there or whatever. Like you don't just fly the whale to the moon.
Isn't that how it works in Final Fantasy IV?
Yeah, but that's because there's an animation. There's a different map. You can't just ride your mount to the moon. Period. No matter what your mount is.
To the moon, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, you can warp to the moon
if it was
everybody involved, and they can stay in the mount.
Yeah. But imagine if it was actually like built to scale to like our scale, and it would be like, yeah, we can ride to the moon. It'll take like a week. We'll have nothing to do. We'll just be in space for a week.
For $30, you can buy a fat Moogle mount, where it's just a really big fat Moogle that floats in the air with like a swing underneath it that seats 2 people, and you just kind of like hot air balloon yourself to a place. Some of the mounts are just ridiculous. I'll be honest. Like there's Witch's Room's actually a pretty cool mount. I'm not gonna knock that one.
Yeah.
But like, there's basically rollerblades. It's the Neza chariot, but they're just like these two big wheels that you stand on, and you kind of just cross arm roll from one place to the other. You're basically, what are those things called? They were calling them hoverboards for a while, but they're not really hovers. The robo boards or whatever they are. You know, the two wheels on the side. You just kind of like stand on a platform. And go from. That's basically what it is, except they're two big flaming wheels. Like some of these mounts are just stupid looking.
Okay.
You get a fat cat.
Oh, that reminds me of that. Wasn't there like a montage in Cobra Kai where Johnny's working out and he's just like knocking people over, and he sees a guy on, I don't know if it was a Segway
like a
or a hoverboard.
It was like a
scooter.
Old-fashioned scooter, and he like takes it.
Throws he just like. He's like, hey! He like knocks the guy over and grabs the scooter and throws it at him. That whole training montage was hilarious. You know, that show got nominated for an Emmy for Best Comedy, and I was like, I didn't realize it was considered a comedy. I mean, it's funny, but...
Oh, it I don't know. If you could call it a drama if you want. I don't know. It definitely, there's more comedy in it than drama, but the dramatic parts are the heavier parts of the show. Yeah. But then again, I could say the same thing about the original Karate Kid. It was a very funny movie, but it definitely wasn't designed to be a comedy. It was a drama.
Yeah. I guess in the classic sense, it is a comedy because
it has a happy ending.
The protagonist wins.
Yeah.
And doesn't die.
It is not a tragedy. A tragedy, at all.
Yeah.
It's not a tragedy. But like, it's not
a haha comedy.
Yeah.
But apparently, it got nominated for a comedy Emmy. So I guess it is.
Well, by that definition, can I call it a rom-com in it? Because there's a lot of romance.
Yeah. It's definitely not like a... What do you call it? A situational comedy? Or
a sitcom? Yeah.
Yeah, a sitcom. It's definitely not a sitcom.
We'll just play the Seinfeld synthesized bass every single time somebody walks into a room. It's funny, no actual bass in
a laugh track.
Seinfeld theme. It's all synthesizer.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Oh, you know what I saw?
What'd you see?
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh, finally. I know you've been meaning to see that.
I did not see it in a theater.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you still saw it.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
It managed to work its way into my brain, into my eye holes, somehow.
Did it live up to expectations? That's the real question.
I would say yes, if you have the proper expectations.
Did it live up to your expectations?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was good. It's good. Not to the level of the originals, but I didn't expect it to. Because I liked 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Much as some people didn't like 2, I liked it.
There are people who don't like 2.
It was not as good. I don't know. I thought 2 was great.
We go.
Yeah. But I expected it to be more of a kids movie, and it was. It was definitely sort of a kids movie. Trying to think if there were any. Yeah, no. As a what you would imagine a decent Ghostbusters kids movie, that's what it was. It was good. Nothing spectacular, but it wasn't terrible. You know, it wasn't that other movie that shall remain nameless from the year 2016.
I was gonna say, on a scale of 2016 to the animated Deke cartoon, where does it lie?
Oh, it's not as good as the Did you like the DK? I feel like you
I
didn't
liked
like
it.
the DK.
No, I actually liked it. I'm
Okay.
putting that on the higher end of the scale. It's like
Yeah.
we're taking the original movies off the scale, so that the D cartoons are high end. 2016 is our low end there. So like, where would you put it on the scale?
Without thinking too hard about it, I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Oh, okay.
Maybe an 8 out of 10. It's hard. It's hard for me to tell. Am I giving it that high of a score because my expectations are so low?
Yeah.
Or is that a fair score? Because I didn't have particularly high expectations. I'd heard that it was decent, but I'd give it a decently high score.
See, I'm weird when it comes to scoring things, right? Not because I use a bell curve. I think everybody should. That shouldn't be weird. I am weird in the fact that I am more willing to rate a TV show after only seeing it once than I am to rate a movie after only seeing it once. And I think it's because TV shows have to build up on their own context. And you spend more time in a show, that it's a lot easier for you to come to like a reasonable conclusion of where a show should be. And like a season, I'm willing to basically rate a season of something like right away after seeing it. Show, I'll wait until like the entire thing has finished airing before giving the total rating of a show. But like a movie, I don't know, because there's you don't spend a lot of time in a movie comparatively. So there's like the first impressions. And I feel like I need to watch a movie again before I give it a proper score. So I'll give it like my initial response, but then I'll probably rescore it later. Almost like
I might.
You go to a restaurant and you may have either had like a really good time or a really bad time at that restaurant the first time you went there, and it might like flavor your opinion, and you might need to go there a couple times to be like, did I just have a good day that day, or did I just have a bad day that day? Is that restaurant better than I remember it being?
Yeah. Now, in some cases, so like I saw The Matrix Resurrections because it was on HBO. I'm not fucking watching that movie again.
That's fair.
I think I said on Twitter, I gave it a 4 because it wasn't like abysmally terrible, but it was, for me, 4 is obviously below average. And I kind of gave it a 4 just because it was just like, okay, as a standalone movie, it was fine. It was okay. It had some action. But as a Matrix movie, it just fell completely flat.
So in those cases, because I definitely have those cases too, I'll say usually it's probably a blank. Like, because I'll just leave it with whatever my first impression, and basically the rating is I wouldn't watch it again. And I'll always just leave it like it's probably a 4 out of 10, and it'll never get like an official, like a real stern, decisive rating. That's all it gets.
Yeah. I kind of after saying that on Twitter, I saw some other people, and some people gave it higher, some people gave it lower, and I was like, I don't know if I'd have to see it again to readjust, but I'm not.
I don't want
it. I don't want to waste my time. As much as a 4 doesn't sound like an abysmal score, it just wasn't a fun experience overall. So,
and
Dune, on the other hand,
this way, but I think The Force Awakens is the movie that made me really solidify how I do ratings, because going with a group of people, I had a really good time watching it the first time, but then rewatching it again is like, this movie is nowhere near as good as I remember. I gave it like a 6 out of 10 the first time I saw it, and like, no, it's not even a 6 out of 10.
Dune, on the other hand, I thought was excellent. And in fact, what I did was I went out to the theater with my mom and saw Dune, and was thoroughly confused because I've never read the books and I've never seen the original movie. I was thoroughly confused by it. I thought it was good, but I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I just saw. Then I went back and watched the original movie, whatever it was, 1978 or 74, whatever it came out. Then I was like, okay, I understand more. And then I rewatched it on HBO Max, and I liked it, I think, more the second time. Even though the visuals weren't quite as impressive the second time around, but I liked it overall better. Probably because I just understood what was going on. It's a very confusing movie. But I was happy to see it again because I liked it. And Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'll probably see again, but I probably won't see it in the theater. But I'll wait until there's, let's just say, a better version. The version I saw was not particularly high quality. So I might even get the box set because I don't own any of them, and the box set comes with obviously 1, 2, and 3. And hey, I could get some comedy out of taking the coupon that they added so that you could download the 2016 one. I might take that and stab it, light it on fire, and flush it down the toilet, and record it and put it on my YouTube channel.
No, what you do is you get a glass case and put on your wall that says "Do not break, even in an emergency."
Yes. Do not give to your worst enemy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably see that when it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever. Even though at the moment I don't have a Blu-ray player.
Yeah. I see. This is also like why people ask me all the time too. It's like, why do you pirate so much, even if you plan to watch the movie? And I've come to this problem a long time ago where I think seeing a movie for the first time with other people can really flavor your opinion of the movie. And sometimes I want to really just soak in the movie raw the first time I see it. But I also really hate going to the movie theaters by myself. And like I've even convinced other people of doing this too. It's like, yeah, we're all going to go see it as a group. But for most of us, it's going to be our second showing. We're just going to watch it first. Really soak it in, and then we'll go to like an early screening, like a matinee or whatever, when nobody's there, and then we'll be our own commentary track while we're watching the movie together, because we've already seen it once. We don't really care if we talk over something.
Yeah. Well, I really want to see Spider-Man No Way Home in the theaters. I've heard really good things, that it's really fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I keep seeing everywhere.
But I guess I'll have to go alone.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I know a lot of people.
That's the fanfare from Final Fantasy.
It is. A lot of people here in my household want to see No Way Home, but I don't know. I kind of don't. Like, I eventually do, but it's like if I had to pick between the movies that are currently in the theaters, it's not what I would pick. My dad is like the one who doesn't want to see No Way Home, and he wants to go see Matrix. I'm like, I don't want to see that one either. It's like you guys have all weird opinions. I want to see The Kingsman. Like, if we were all going to the theaters, even if we don't see the same thing, it's like I'm gonna go off and watch this movie by myself if I have to. The Kingsman is part of the Kingsman series. You know, the Mark Millar comic. It's like the third one in the because there's Kingsman 1 and 2, and then there's the Kingsman. So it's the third one in that. And so far of like reputation, but also like of these movie series, of the three, it's the only one that hasn't let me down yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do hear great things about this Spider-Man, but I fucking hated both of the previous two Spider-Man. And also hated how Spider-Man's been depicted in every movie except for Civil War. Even though I didn't like that movie, I just thought he was depicted well in that one. And at the same time, a lot of the people that are telling me that this is such a great movie were people that loved the two Spider-Man movies that I hated. So it's like,
Yep.
it could just be that you guys are luckily aligning with a good opinion this time. It could also be that I should not trust your opinion like I have been for the last couple of times. I you know, it's really hard to tell. I'm not making it a priority of something to watch.
Well, if and when I see it, don't listen to me either, because I like the first two.
Yeah.
The second one, not quite so much. I thought it had some major problems, but yeah, just lots of problems. But I like the first Tom Holland one quite a bit.
So something funny I saw.
So don't listen to me.
You know the Saving Comics group that used to be the Diversity in Comics group on Facebook, right? The one that they changed their name after Zach abandoned them.
Oh, you know what? I'm in that group, but I didn't even realize they changed the name.
Oh yeah, it's been changed for like 4 years now or something like that, maybe a little longer. Whenever he had 5 years. Whenever
Shows
he
you
abandoned it.
how often I go on Facebook.
Yeah. So I'll see posts from him every so often.
Yeah. I have a friend who's been texting me on Facebook that I've yet to answer because I never go on Facebook. I keep seeing her texts. It's a friend of Peach's, but anyway, go on. I
saw somebody post this screenshot, and apparently it's been moving around, and they had to go and verify it. But if you actually go to like the who is MJ Watson, the Wikipedia page or whatever has been updated to, instead of saying Mary Jane Watson, it says like Michelle Jones Watson or whatever the new MJ character's name is. But like as soon as you go into the article, it says nothing but Mary Jane. It's just the name of the article's been updated to the MCU character, and I'm like, that's fucked. That's really fucked.
Maybe I'm not in that group anymore. Did I get kicked out?
I don't know. Did you?
Oh no, here it is. I don't even know they've changed. I don't even know how to navigate this.
Yeah. I was going to laugh as like, did you get kicked out because Pope fires one of the mods in it? Or she's like,
no, I'm friends with Pope Fire again.
Oh, okay. You guys made up.
Okay. Yeah. You didn't know that? We totally made up.
No, I think we talked about it. I just, a lot happens.
Yeah. Although, is she still active in there? Because
yes,
I haven't spoken to her in like 2 years.
I see her first name. I never remember what her last name is, but I recognize always like her first name and her profile picture. I see her posting all the time. That's where she's mostly active. Yeah.
Oh, and Samuli's in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I should, because I know him from songs, video, like live streams. He's always in the live stream.
Yeah, I barely ever go on Facebook, but every time I do, I always see a post from that group. And it's like, well, you know what? I'd rather see a post from them on my feed than most of the people that I actually have in my friends list, because a lot of the people I know IRL just post the most retarded shit.
For some reason, every time I go to Facebook, all I see are these stupid videos of you'll never guess what happens, and you have to wait. It's like 5-minute video where nothing happens for the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's why you just don't watch them.
That's like stupid. I know. Well, I know. Sometimes I'm bored and I want to see what happens.
You click the bait. You take the fucking bait.
I do. I totally do.
It's like, you'll never
so
guess
what
happens.
Is this again?
Nothing. Just nothing.
Apparently, I get. Yeah. I take it in every time.
They renamed the article on Mary Jane Watson to the character of the MCU. It's like Michelle something.
The article on what site?
I think it was Wikipedia. I don't remember. It's been a while since I actually saw the thing. Yeah.
Oh, Wikipedia. Man, sorry, I've got.
Yeah, no, the Wikipedia actually says Mary Jane now. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
One of the articles.
Chris Tucci's in here.
Yeah, was Michelle, and I'm like, why? Why did they do that?
You know why. Oh, there's Jason Robinson.
Oh, yeah,
I swear these Zendaya worshippers are pathetic.
Oh, I never liked her. And
Why are people so obsessed with Zendaya?
I have a really weird introduction to that actress. I would say character because every character she plays is just her. Because of Buck. So oddly enough, I'm gonna call Buck out here publicly. Oddly enough, even though we were out of high school for like 5 years or so, every time I'd show up to his house, he would have Disney XD on in the background.
Oh, was she a Disney?
Yes, she was a Disney
whatever
star.
Like
yeah,
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse kind of person.
Well, no. So she's just the way Disney Channel works now is that almost all their shows are live action. They have some cartoons. Disney XD actually started out as Toon Disney, which is like, oh, we have too many live action things. Let's make a cartoon channel. And then slowly that became live action stuff too, because it's cheaper to film live action stuff than it is to animate. So it's like half animation, half live action. And she was on several different shows, at least 2, maybe more, on the whole like Disney Channel stuff. And the only reason I know that is because I'd walk into his house and on the freaking like 70-inch TV in the or maybe it's only 60, but like the 60-inch fucking TV in the living room, every time I'd walk in, fucking Disney XD is on. And I'm like, why are you watching these shows? And it's, you know the real reason? Because Phineas and Ferb was on earlier and he just never changed the channel after that. I'm like,
yeah, been there.
Yeah, it's just like every single time I walk in, it's like, well, you know, Phineas and Ferb has been over for hours. You're on your computer too. You could literally just turn the TV off.
Yeah. That was like the only thing I ever watched on the Disney Channel was Phineas.
Yeah, like walking. Well, there's this one show we used to watch. I don't even remember what shows Zendaya was on, to be honest. Like, I don't know the names of most of the shows that were on. But she acted exactly the same way that MJ acts in the MCU. And it's like, oh, yeah, she just plays herself. That she's one of those people. She just plays herself.
Yeah.
But one of the shows, I think it was like Lab Rats was the name of it that he would watch, which was about like superhumans that were made in a lab or something. I don't know. But the principal in the show was Zapped was the show she was on. Maybe. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't even remember what the plot of the show is. I just remember her being on there.
Wait, are you saying she was in a show called Lab Rats?
No, this is another show that I watched. And the only reason I remember the show's name or whatever is because the principal is this short, stocky woman. And the second I heard her voice, I'm like, why is Naruto in this show? And it's the person who does the English voice acting for Naruto. It's the only reason.
Oh, really?
Like, why the fuck is Naruto in this show? It's her normal voice too. It's just the way she was in like a Geico commercial or something. Was it Geico, or was it like it was some insurance commercial? She was in an insurance.
And
commercial.
She plays the lead character.
No, she was like
Naruto?
just the principal of the. Well, she plays Naruto himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like her normal voice. If you just hear her talk in anything, it's her voice. It's just Naruto's voice. She just has that like scratchy young boy's voice. Yeah. It's the only reason I remember that show. I even tried like paying attention because we'd be like hanging out on his couch. I'm like, dude, let's just go for a walk. It's better than sitting here doing nothing. But like these shows are just so bad. And I used to watch Disney live action shows when I was a kid, and like these shows are worse than the ones that I watch. I'm not even saying the ones that I watched were good because I've went back and rewatched them with a critical mind. These ones were just worse. And I'm like, what has happened to this network?
Yeah, wow. She has a face for voice acting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's very good at her craft. But yeah. I agree. I was a Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of Nickelodeon.
I watched iCarly, Victorious, and they would always make fun of the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious. I
Well, even the
never
Nick
got into
stuff's not
Drake
as
and
good as
Josh.
it used to be. That's the problem too.
I'm sure.
A lot of the Nick stuff, I think now, their stuff used to be better, than Disney's, but now they're like in parity with each other.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gone downhill. Unfortunately.
You know what probably happened? Sometimes you have to make sacrifices to a pagan god, and when they got rid of their pagan god Dan Schneider, everything went downhill. Yeah,
But even Sam and Cat wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Particularly like that. But yes. And poor Dan, no, I don't know. Well, we don't have time to get into it. But I know he had some weird quirks. But it was like, everybody knew that. Everybody knew he had a weird thing about feet. Like an unironic weird thing about feet.
I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Apparently some stuff came out. I'm not going to judge one way or the other because I don't know the details and I'm not a part of it. Maybe it was for the best that they got rid of him. I just know that when they did, everything started going downhill.
I felt like it was a lot of bullshit that was just like, okay, he's kind of a creepy, weird guy, but he never actually did anything. He definitely didn't do anything illegal. It was just like,
I don't know.
Oh, he's kind of a weirdo. It's like everybody knew he was a weirdo back when he was in Better Off Dead back in the 80s. Everyone knows he's a weirdo, but that doesn't warrant canceling. I don't know.
Well, now a lot of people are trying to like blame him for a lot of people's like lives going at it, and it's like, well, maybe he contributed slightly to something because maybe he like got people into things that they shouldn't have been into, but that's also just the experience of being a child star in Hollywood, right? Like a lot of them end up getting into drugs really early because it's just accessible to them. I don't know. I'm like I said, I don't know the exact details. I'm not going to judge one way or the other.
Yeah, and maybe he did something more than what I've heard. So
that's why I don't know. I don't know the details. Like it could have been a good reason that he was gotten rid of. I just don't know, so I'm not gonna really claim. But
he did always have a weird thing. You could tell just from watching like Victorious. He had a weird thing about feet.
He was so good in Good Burger, though.
Yeah,
he played the perfect boss.
Yeah, and he was hilarious in Better Off Dead. Frankly.
Yeah. Well, that's all we got for the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoy your new year. Hope it's better than the last. Even if you had a good one, I still hope it's better than the last. We always prefer things to just go in the upward trajectory. If you enjoy the show, please share it with somebody else who might like it. Let's make this new year great for everyone, including us. And if you really enjoy the show, please consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live to help pay for our monthly hosting fees. It is a new month. If you're watching, you see I did refresh the bar while we were doing things. If you're listening, hopefully you made it long enough to hear this. I don't know how many people just like tab out halfway through. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
exceptionally warm winter, which is what it's felt like so far, right? Or it was going to be an exceptionally cold winter worse than that. And so far, we haven't gotten the second half, so we're hoping it just stays being what people are saying. It's exceptionally cold. But some people are just really well, you know what? I never thought it would happen in Texas. Look at last year. I don't think some areas, especially in the West, have probably not going to get one until I think the Great Winter, looking at it, it even reached down into parts of Mexico. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, and it lasted for like 6 months. It was like an extended winter. They were having trouble getting snow off of the railroad tracks and stuff. One of the best accounts that people have of it, even though it's technically fiction because it's a flavored account. The Little House on the Prairie books. She wrote about her experience during the Great Winter. But people still say it's one of the best accounts aside from like what journals were writing at the time, because there aren't a lot of like diaries or personal stories of like things happening during that event that been left around. Did he get double canceled? Because that would be cool. Not really. I don't like the guy, but I don't think anyone should be canceled unless, you know, they touch children. Did he touch a child? He's got some pretty pedophilic takes. Oh yeah, he's been saying that for a while. Like, there are people that are legally considered children. I think that.
Follow the ghost of all fulfilled destiny completely. They're not always
Child.
clear. You'll realize you're on your own. Strike up the people's cries. Your purpose is of destruction. The time's now. Your cause is clear.
It's actually about the average age.
Remembering all you once known.
Across the Western World. No. Texas is actually kind of more progressive than half of the West states. Ours is 17.
Unsettled thoughts, vain whispers that this is my place of birth.
There's another darkness, brother.
Could these crystal
Yeah, it's like they're
walls be traces of memory?
Because if you're within 10 years, they assume that you could have a relationship while you were still around.
The things in my head rushing past my eyes,
Well, it's kind of like with, like,
confusing all I know. Two stories that this body leads when only one can be real. Follow the
Well, so this is like one of the things that a lot of the other songs done. Isn't done. But like one of his takes that people really is that it is for a band to attract to. But then he even said to put you act on it or not, that's not normal. Yeah, that's factual. You guys can shit on him for everything else he said, but that isn't true. Yeah, it's biology. We just keep it in here. Well, this is like the still above puberty. If you push it back before that, I'm gonna have to throw you in some type of gulag or something. Yeah. No, it was like a century ago. But it's also the exact thing that they were bringing up with Tim and Jack were talking about. It was like, no, everything they're saying is factually true. Whereas the whole plenty of fish did survey, right? Not like an active survey, they were looking at like looking at genetics. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you know. Yeah, that it does. Again, like it's perfectly right to be attracted to them. The wrong